500 Club season at last gets underway after a delayed start due to foot and mouth. And there's a capacity entry with 4 of the Motorsport Ireland Championships into the normal northern classes. The Ford of Ireland Zetec ranks have swelled since their initial outing at Mygale, and the pressure is on George McAlpin, the only northern representative. But he certainly has brought his fan club.
George McAlpin, he's going to stick her in pole in qualifying.
Is he a young man?
Mid-40s.
What, as a good driver?
Oh, he's amazing, so he is. Yeah.
Experienced?
Very, very experienced, yeah.
So who did you put your money on this afternoon?
George McAlpin.
George does as his family predicts, and the young Charlie Donnelly is alongside him.
It's a good qualifying session. It went well. I picked my time and went out and I got a lap together. It was a good session.
Another young gun is on the inside of the second row.
Very happy. We're only 4 tenths off the pace, and hopefully we can just get a good start and be up front and score some points for the first time this year.
Then it's the very experienced racer, but Formula Ford Zetec rookie.
When I turn into the first corner, I won't be thinking about their age. I think the first corner will be crucial. After that, we'll work it out together.
And on the inside of the third row with our camera, the championship leader.
Stone is a very long circuit, and I'm only about 4 tenths adrift of George. But the second 2 rows are covered by, I think, a tenth and a couple of hundredths, so it'll prove it interesting racing.
So it's George on pole, but by the middle of the afternoon, a new enemy has blown in from the coast, sea mist.
There's no mist on Charlie Donnelly's left foot because he gets off that line. This is on board with Alan Dwyer from the third row of the grid, and you can see just how misty it is. He's been dogged and passed there by 1 or 2 others. Little red light showing you up, but it's Donnelly into that first one with George McAlpin, young Devaney up in the third, and Ray Moore in fourth. And they go out into that fog, and a very wet, damp, moist-ridden fog it is, and you can see just how much is clouding up that camera.
And a very difficult decision for the 500 Club officials whether to run this race or not. The deciding factor is if you can see the marshal's post. But it's Donnelly, then George McAlpin, and the rest of the field comes streaming through. And there's our camera car.
Camera car there with a little red and white in the background. Another one following the foots of Michael Cohan from Cork. From Glanmire, Dwyer not in the place he wants to be, but look at McAlpin looking at the inside. He's beginning to push Donnelly out, and he does indeed. Falls for the old trap, but not to where he took him. But Devaney's beginning to make a move on the inside. They're heading down the straight, so it's George from Charlie, from Michael Devaney, and look at Ray Moore. Alan Ring wants that place.
And it is really scary stuff, this, because vision is not good, as you can see. Down they come, queuing down into First Colonial, all safely through. No contact there, but they're really having to be a little bit cautious today.
The black car there, the KIT car, John Gunning making a good start with George, picking up a couple of car lengths on the lads. That's a newcomer to the class as well, but look at this, the chicane. I think this is actually getting worse.
Looking up the length of the back straight, you couldn't see a thing. You could barely make out the trucks, in the paddock here. And just as you got closer and closer, you could just barely get your braking points and turn in for the first corner.
Well, that's just what Alan Dwyer does at the hairpin this time, and dives down the inside, making up one place. But as you can see, the vision is nearly impossible.
And the vision for him is exactly the same, because that mist laden in the fog is just getting on his visor as well. So things aren't looking good. It may well, we can see the marshals there in their red jackets, but can we see the flags? And Donnelly having a look, he's not been put off by, he gets a little wide there. Devaney's still in third, Ray Moore in fourth, and Dwyer up into that 5th and 6th place by battle away. That's young Kevin Gillespie. That's the new lad I mentioned. We're back on board with Dwyer again, but I think, as I said, I think it's getting worse. I think it's only a matter of time before they're going to have to call a halt to this race.
You can barely see Devaney in front of him as he comes through the chicane and just chops across. Of course, this picture a little bit worse because obviously the lens is getting misted up.
Someone out there, I'm going to say it's John Gunning. I'm not sure because I cannot see in the mist, but that's my excuse. Meanwhile, back up the front, Donnelly having a real run at the gearbox of George. Oh, and Devaney up that inside, and Alan Ring there still tussling away, but this end of the circuit is better than the other end.
And the experienced George McAlpin with the young guys, the young guns crawling all over the back of him at the moment. And it looked like Ray Moore had gone up a place, up into third place there.
Yes, Ray's been around a long time. Ray's he's just been caught by Michael Devaney and launches him in the air. And you can see he dropped the wheel off the circuit. If we see that again in the background, the yellow car trying to make it out from behind Ray, just catches it, hits the hole there, breaks the back suspension, and he's a passenger, but full opposite lock, 10 out of 10, Michael.
So Michael Devaney, the son of the famous racing driver Bernard Devaney, coming up from karts this year. Pretty adventurous first season so far, but I would imagine won't be long till that man is winning. Meanwhile, up front, we have McAlpin being carried all the way by another, and I think he hit the curb there. There could be something wrong with that car in second place, Brian.
Another pothole just on the outside of that circuit there, and it looks as if he is. Ray Moore is up in the second place, so have we lost him? There he is. That's unfortunate for Charlie Donnelly. Back suspension waving in the wind there. I'd say Daddy Des would bring you up a bag of cement and sand to fill that hole the next time, Richard.
And Des Donnelly, of course, a former saloon car champion here at Kyrgyzstan, and Mondello, very experienced racing men indeed. These two boys will undoubtedly, as they gain a little bit of confidence, will be right up there in the front. Maybe confidence is not the thing they're lacking, but look at Alan Ring in third place. He's beginning to make shapes now.
Alan Ring having a look, he knows Alan Dwyer is on a charge, but George at the moment has it all to do because he's got to keep himself out front. He can't really see in the mirror how close they are. Ray Moore in that second place, keeping Ring at bay, and Alan Dwyer, bodywork a little loose on the back. I don't think it's bothering him at the moment, but a good 20 car length. Ray Moore being really chased by Alan Ring, then Alan Dwyer as they head into the quickest part of the circuit. Visibility has stayed static at the moment. Oh, Ring sticking the nose out there. I'm not sure if they can see these cars in the mirrors. I know they can see the red lights in front, but what you can see in the mirrors, I do not know.
Ray Moore, of course, multiple Formula V champion, and how often have we seen in the past that men coming out of Formula V can really go motor racing? Ring went up a place there, but we can't really see how as we are back on board with our car. And there is Moore chopping across Dwyer there, and really difficult conditions here. You can see our camera car, and that bodywork looks as if it's going to come off.
Well, you light them down a bit, but I think Alan Dwyer thought he had that place, but you don't take it that easy from Ray Moore. Meanwhile, Ray, centre of the road, on the brakes, turns in nicely. Dwyer closing in behind him, and that young Gordon Coleman beginning to make moves on these two as they squab with each other. Out to the left goes Alan Dwyer as they disappear in the fog. Moore still here, Coleman really on a flyer. But look, George has it easy at the moment. Nothing easy in that fog, but if it is easy, he's got the easy job.
Mygale leading, Van Diemen in second, and I think third place is then a Swift in the Zetec 2-litre Formula Ford cars. And a great battle here going on between Dwyer trying round the outside of the hairpin and not getting enough room there, being forced onto the grass. And who's that? Coleman coming up to try and take a place there.
A little nudge there, friendly little nudge, just put him out, but look what it's done. Gets let Coleman through. Dwyer has got it all to do again, and Ray Moore can relax if you can in this fog. I keep mentioning this because this is absolutely unbelievable that they're letting this race continue, because it has got 10 times worse than it was at the start. We could see the exit of corners, now we're waiting on the cars to appear.
Well, in fairness, yellow flags out at a number of the really difficult corners, so they're not allowed to overtake there. If they can even see the red flag, there's the hand up, red flag, race has been stopped. It's going to be McAlpin. In second place is Ring, and in third place Ray Moore, so the experienced men getting through.
The problem we have at the minute is the visibility is varying from minute to minute. Like you can see it's just lifted a little bit now, but we are getting situations where we can't see one marshal's post from the previous preceding or following marshal's post. In fact, at one point it was so bad that if we'd had an incident halfway between Colonial and Fisherman's, we possibly wouldn't have known about it. We could have had all sorts of mayhem. So at the moment, unless there's a significant improvement in visibility, I'm not intending to start any more races.
Well, in these conditions, as the results show, experience definitely counts.
I thought I had such a good lead, I actually started to back off, and then I started to see Alan in my mirrors, and I thought maybe it was a back marker, but that's the way it goes.
A back marker.
It was a bad morning, but a back marker.
But you were going well. You were actually reeling them in, but you kept the shoe. And could you see him all the time? The red light made the difference, obviously.
Oh, I can see him, no problem. I mean, he doesn't look forward in the mirrors. I just kept it neat and tidy. Had a minor moment at the chicane. It was obviously slippery, but just keep him neat, trying to keep him under pressure.
Keep him under pressure. Ray, you climbed up into third after a few of the young lads got a bit overheated, I would say.
Well, I passed them, to tell you the truth. I had a problem. Well, one got overheated. I had a problem with that young man who came up the inside in the first corner. Either I turned in or I had an accident. Stupid. And eventually he hit me, and the car went off. It was a pity because Bernard Dunn did a great job in the car and handled fabulously.
So if you want a hot tip on Ford of Ireland Zetec form, ask the McAlpin.
At this grid of Zetecs now. The one thing to watch out for on the outside, that yellow car, is young Devaney, and he has the spy in the cab with him, which it is, but it's a good start there from Dwyer on the inside. A little sleepy there, Devaney tucks over behind him. It seems to break a little early, and it's got to turn in really quick and ring out the outside. They've collected each other.
Michael Devaney, his very first car race start, he really didn't get deep enough in the brakes there, and he was just collected from behind. I'm not sure actually whether George touched him, but he certainly had nowhere to go, ran across the top of Alan Ring, and nowhere to go. An unfortunate end to his car racing debut, but he'll learn from that.
You saw just how high Michael Devaney got up over the back of Alan Ring, and again, you saw poor George was in the word, so Alan Ring and George McAlpin clashing, so I think we've lost 4 on this first corner. And let's hear from one of those drivers. That's George in the black car, and young Devaney getting out as well.
Down into the first corner, got a reasonable start. George onside me. Devaney seemed to hesitate and left the gap, so I went round the outside. Was starting behind Dwyer, and Devaney hit my car from the rear, up over the back and spun me. And George was left with nowhere to go but into the front of me. So George had 2 corners, I have 1 corner. That's it, first corner accident again.
Unfortunate, but we've heard this before, and you've come back and won the championship.
Oh yeah, we second in the first race, not worried. 1 race down, not a problem.
Safety car makes its way down the pit lane, so we will have a restart. Dwyer, the man sitting there up the front. John Gunning has moved his way into that second place, and Dwyer should be good at this. Back off, don't give them a chance. You're in control in the front. And as soon as you hit that green light, pedal to the metal, and it's a good start. Declan, he gets a couple of car lengths and Gunning on the inside.
Alan Dwyer's an ex-karter. He's had no problem with those pace car restarts. He held them up through the second last corner, blasted down the straight. He's kept his advantage. Surprised to see John Gunning up there. Great performance from the old stager, and he certainly has Dwyer in his sights. He won't give this one up.
John made the right move at that first car corner instantly. He just dived in the inside, and young Charlie Donnelly, still to be experienced and branded in here, but he's the one improving all the time, letting these 2 boys get away. Dwyer at the moment will have his mirrors full of Gunning shortly, but Charlie Donnelly sitting in a nice place. In the background, I think it's Ray Moore on his debut here in Zetec, but Dwyer has it all to do, should be able to put this one in the bag, but you never know in Zetec's. Gunning may have other ideas, and Charlie doing the right job, settling in nicely, pulling them back easy. That's Moore there in 4th place.
That's Moore. He's used to winning, and he's really clinging on to this group, doing a super job, the Formula V racer. But up front, Alan Dwyer is very impressive on this restart. He's staying away from the curbs. He's very neat and tidy, and he's been a real revelation this year. He's from Cork, a Corkman, and from that hotbed of racing talent. They've really been churning them out in the last few years. I know he's a former pupil of the Henry Morrow School in Italy, and he's certainly making that show. Another surprise this season has been the performance of Charlie Donnelly there in 3rd place. He's got Gunning in his sights, running around the outside. He'll have a stab down the inside into Tarzan, and Charlie's got his hands on some late model Zetec equipment, and he's certainly making that work to good effect.
Well, these 2 falling over each other, not really falling, but at the moment Donnelly is making life hard, and he's got to try and get this man gunning on the wrong side, but all this time Dwyer, you see, up front, is after about 15, 20 car lengths, not all in a bunch, gunning obviously the slow man here. He's got to try and get him committed to the inside or the outside, give him a dummy. Can he get alongside him? He can, but Laura's in the background, but Laura look for this place as well. The two of them are coming in to the quickest corner, and it's Laura, I think, the new name on it, in there, and in through goes Donnelly, out over the curve, leaves gunning on the outside, and Ray Moore going to take that place, but just not enough room. Well done, young Charlie, takes the place, and Ray Moore is the next danger man for that third place, but gunning really tucking in Donnelly, closing that door.
That all came about the long left-hander towards the end of the lap. Difficult to defend that, and John Gunning could do nothing about it. He's still attacking Charlie Donnelly, but he went in tight to that corner. Charlie Donnelly took a late turn in, classic racing manoeuvre, and we should see him eke out a bit of an advantage now. It did appear as if John Gunning was doing all the defending. We'll see if Charlie Donnelly can do anything about the lead that Alan Dwyer has got.
Well, he's put a few car lengths there, but it's nice to see the young lads and the old lads mixing it. One has all the knowledge, but that young lad out the front, you can see really how far he's gone ahead, because that is the battle there for second and third. Donnelly, just a car length in it, but you only need to win by a car length. John Gunning at the moment would be kicking himself for letting that door wide open. Donnelly a little way, but look in the background. Ray Moore decided it'll be nice to be on the podium today.
He's a relentless competitor. He's in the Bernard Dolan prepared brand new Diemen. He's really working at the wheel, desperately fighting to cling on here to John Gunning, a man with incredible experience in Formula Ford Zetec. So this should be a classic confrontation.
Good one there, Ray. Didn't even show the nose on the inside. Got John nicely settled in, followed him down. So he obviously has it somewhere else to have a run at that. Meanwhile, out front, Dwyer is just stroking it away at the moment. In fact, sometimes you get a little bored. Things aren't happening around you, and look at that gap. And Donnelly is pulling the same, so he's in a happy second place. Keep the fingers crossed. Ray Moore, he's the man who's going to make the move. Where will he do it? Coming down to the S's here, which is a very, very tight entry if you want to keep that man at bay, and Gunning keeps that door closed, but the quicker exit there from Ray Moore. All the time Charlie's sitting nicely up there, but not as quick Ray there as he could have been as they head out into Tarzan. There's a spinner there, that's young Gillespie in his first year of Zetec, spinning in a bad place. No, got to start again. So meanwhile, Donnelly through, there's John Gunning, and still Ray Moore hasn't gone.
He's really working at it. Kevin Gillespie, another graduate of Formula V, up ahead of him. Ray Moore is he's the one kicking up the dust. But up at the front, I wouldn't say Alan Dwyer is very bored, to be honest, Brian. He'll be very excited to be leading. He's had a couple of years in car racing now, fairly quiet years, self-prepared car. They've got a little bit of technology now from Cliff Dempsey Racing, and it's making all the difference.
Here you see in the background there that Ray is still looking at that third place. Hasn't time to do it. Clean car, no sponsorship so far. As I said, being run at the moment by a very experienced Formula 4 now, but can't help him out here. He's going left, he's going right. In fact, he's got Gunning on the inside, so Ray should get a quicker exit. He does as they head out through this very quick left-hander. All this time, Charlie is only getting a half car length at a time, but he's doing it. Dwyer up the hill again to Donnelly on the brakes. Nice clean turn, and just barely touched that car. Donnelly in that safe second place. The moment Ray Moore having a look on the inside, but he doesn't, just leaving all over the place. Will he do it, do you think, Declan?
I think he has a fairly good chance. The one thing Ray Moore has got is racecraft. He's been racing in England for several years on those faster tracks with those huge fields in Formula V racing, where it's all about racecraft, less so about speed, and he's able to put the car anywhere on the track to try and find an advantage. He'll do the opposite of everything that John Gunning does on the approach to the corner in trying to gain an advantage on the race.
He tried at that time coming down into the Hewlett Packard corner. He's having a look at the inside out of one of the very quick parts to check, but he hasn't been stuck behind John Gunning before, and this man knows how to keep you behind. He's an experienced racer. He's doing nothing wrong. He knows Ray wants to get it by. He wants that third place, but coming down the straight, Ray diving to the left, diving to the right, and in fairness to John, he never even moved. He held that line. He knew it was a gap, and I think he's slowing him down just at that fast part of the corner, but he could be caught out there if Ray gets a the slingshot out of it quicker when you catch him on the slow ones.
It's certainly clean racing, it's good racing, and that's a classic opportunity for Moore. If he gets a good opportunity, good speed out of the parabolic, down into the Tarzan. He's through the two parts of the Tarzan and he almost swipes his nose off against the back of Gunning's Mygale. But his red Van Diemen is still in pristine condition. Brand new car, way late turn in there, and that's his opportunity. Down the inside on the way down into the left-hander towards the end of the lap.
Superb it was. And there's our leader coming out of Dunlop for the last time. He's heading towards the flag. But Ray Moore would have seen Charlie Donnelly make that same move. It was Dwyer from Charlie Donnelly from Ray Moore. Look at George on the outside. He's just jumped about 3 car lengths. A good start from Dwyer, I should say. But George is the man in the middle, and Dwyer going down the inside. Whoa, a little bit of contact there, Declan.
Two teammates, the two status teammates. Alan Dwyer made a fantastic start. Obviously wanted to get well up, but unfortunately there's nothing he could do about getting stopped there. Clips Philip Kershaw and also takes out Michael Devaney. And was that Alan Ring as well?
Look at George McAlpin at the moment out on his own. If he looks in the mirror, he won't even see another Zetec, about 10 car lengths, and this is only the 3rd corner. That first corner incident can play a huge important part for it. There's the recovering Kershaw at the moment. We're on board again, a little slowly. Now watch the way Dwyer dives outside. Kershaw doesn't see him on the way up. In fact, he should have been watching for him. And all this is played into George's hand, but he's dropped a few places, Dwyer.
Well, there's Alan Dwyer, his nose cone showing signs of that contact. Little he could do to get stopped. He really needed to get up as far as he could on the first corner. He knew he had to make a good start, but really, I mean, you can't break from that distance and expect to get it stopped in time.
But he's getting his brain together. He's just had a run there at Ray Moore, which is not an easy thing to do. Oh, Ray is getting his act together in the Zetecs. Meanwhile, McAlpin out front is still beginning to wither away. But look at that nose. Will it cause him to back? It wasn't the biggest impact there, but they're such fragile little beasts. When somebody comes across like that and slaps you on the side, you never know what's broken. It won't bother him that much.
There's Philip Kershaw. He'll be so determined now to get right back into the action. He's back from English racing. Look at Alan Dwyer. He's missing apex, but he's really pushing. He knows that if he's to have any chance of preventing George McAlpin from taking his first Ford of Ireland Zetec title today, then he's really got to get up and get ahead of Ray Moore as soon as possible. Ray, though, we know all about him. 3 times British Formula V champion. He knows how to race. He knows how to defend if he has to, perfectly legally and legitimately, and he won't make it too easy for Alan. But Alan's having a little look left and right everywhere, and I don't think it's going to be too long if he really gets the bit between his teeth.
No, still dragging the ground. Put him off more than anything else. Just, you feel uncomfortable. It's not going to do anything. But again, locking that front wheel down the short straight into Hewlett Packard, and they go. Then over to the right through this very quick left-hander here as they head out into the country to turn 3 and 4, I think it is, and then back into the main arena for the International Circuit. The second of these cars is Dwyer, kicking himself after that brilliant start. Unfortunately, Kershaw didn't see him, but that is motor racing.
Well, there's Ray Moore. He's looking left and right in his mirrors, and he's still really sort of anxious to keep Alan Dwyer behind him. Up ahead, Charlie Donnelly's doing a pretty good job in 2nd place. He's a young lad who's come on very well this season, and he's in the white car in 2nd place. Keep an eye on him and his progress in the future.
We haven't mentioned Charlie because he's on his own, but look at Dwyer. He's going to end that inside down in the quick part of the circuit through there, out to the left, into 2nd gear, up the hill. Will Ray come back at him? No, he won't. We're out in the country again. He does. Gets a better slingshot down into this first right-hander, and Dwyer just lets it all slip ahead. But the nose cone again, not moving.
Not that relevant, I don't think, really, but a fantastic job there by Alan Dwyer. I was really surprised. Ray Moore did take the inside line going down into the Tarzan bends, and you would expect that he would just lay his braking as late as it took to maintain his 3rd place or 4th place position. But Alan Dwyer was able to take the racing line through the corner, and Ray decided the discretion was the better part of valour in that instance.
And just through the best and fastest corner on the circuit, that paddock bend, with Gunning in his sights, up the inside, a lovely manoeuvre. You can see he lets it really drift out. Gunning trying to get back on terms, but I think he has the legs on him, even with that nose going. And we're now on board him again, and we were mentioning Charlie Donnelly there. That's the white dot in front. He's had a lonely race, but he's doing a good job. He's not falling asleep, while everybody behind are falling over each other.
Well, Alan Dwyer has a job now to chase up to Charlie Donnelly and try and get into that second place position. A textbook manoeuvre there at Dunlop Corner at the end of the lap. John Gunning left a gap that, and he would have been really surprised to see Alan Dwyer filling it, but he really went in as late as possible on the brakes, and yet was able to carry enough speed onto the main straight to maintain it down to the first corner.
You saw George go through there in the lead, then the white card of Charlie Donnelly, then the third place man of Alan Dwyer. Now John Gunning has Ray Moore all over the back of him. But look, just look, who's that? It's a Donnelly in trouble there. Oh my goodness, this young man has had bad luck. Kirkson the last time into a pothole, broke his suspension. It won't be long before he wins a race, and good luck to you, young man. But he's taken all the bad knocks, now back with Gunning and the rest of them falling over each other. And this is playing into Alan Dwyer's hands. He's now up into second place. Can he catch George?
Well, there's spinner Michael Devaney, the Damien Doherty Racing young teenager, 16 years old. He's a race winner twice this season, a fantastic driver, but unfortunately he's just been clipped there by Derek M. Daly. And as we move forward after 9 laps, it's George McAlpin leading from Alan Dwyer, Ray Moore in third place, Philip Kershaw fourth, and Alan Ring in fifth.
There's Michael Devaney doing a bit with Charlie Donnelly. It's like a touch of the magic thing, up the left, up the right, but you couldn't keep it, but that is it. And look at Ray Moore just taking a dive. Remember, the next one is a very tight right-hander, laid on the brakes. He's got a stutter through here. Nothing the man can do. He's got himself up there. Good move there. And they'll begin. That's Alan Ring in the background, the Munster joinery car. Oh, nose gone, but it hasn't affected him. Dwyer on a flyer there. Now it's Ray Moore. Look at Gunning in the background, and look at Alan Ring as well. And that's Kershaw's got up in the place. So Ray Moore under pressure from Kershaw and Alan Ring.
Yes, Ray Moore in third place now, Alan Dwyer lonely in second, and of course George McAlpin heading towards his first championship, way out in the lead at the moment. But this is a fantastic dice for third place. Ray Moore, no way was he letting Philip Kershaw by in the same way that he let Alan Dwyer by at the Tarzan bends. And Philip Kershaw showing some of the racecraft that he's learned in a season of racing in the British Avon Junior Series, and he's sort of left and right at every bend. And I think Ray is sort of backing it up, and Alan Ring, look at him smoking it down the outside. He's desperate to get past Philip Kershaw and have a crack at Ray Moore himself. So a fantastic three-way dice. There's attacking and defending from Philip Kershaw in the middle. It's pretty good.
Ray there going up the hill to Dunlop. He was nearly up on the pit road, but he knows every line he needs to keep closed here. Philip can drive around in circles in the background. The danger man here is Ring, because if Kershaw goes left and our man in the lead here, Ray has to go with it. Ring couldn't do that. This is a slingshot. If he can get alongside him, he might make a place. But just watch Ray as he comes out here. Stays to the right. He knows he's going to have a look at that right-hand side. Leaves it so late. Caught him. He can't get it a long way around the outside.
Well, absolutely, but no one has ever really figured out exactly what the right line is through that corner. You can go right around the outside or take an early apex, and as long as you can carry speed through the second half of it, you should be okay down the next straight. But look at Alan Ring. He's desperate to try and get a run at Philip Kershaw. That's pretty good. Up ahead, a lonely race for George McAlpin, but he's really pushing. He's a point to prove this afternoon that he is the man in Formula Ford Zetec racing in Ireland, and I certainly think that this is a championship coming to him that he's long deserved.
And we can just tell you that he's no slouch, because he just put his quickest lap in on lap 11, and look at Ring trying to get up the inside. Remember that Paddock is a very quick left-hander at the end, but just hadn't the momentum to get alongside him. And again, Ray Moore, he's doing it right, driving up the centre of the road. Now you can go the long way around. There's not enough room on the inside. He's got the same power, holds the middle of the road. There's nothing can do, and Ring is looking at that inside line, but just not enough. He gets the nose snapped off from there by Philip Kershaw, and he'll have another look at it.
It looked as if Alan Ring had a chance there. Definitely had a run, and oh, super job there. He was down the inside, locking it up. Just got off the brakes in time to jink out and take a half-decent line. But Ray Moore is very much steady Eddie at the moment, just working through the laps and not doing anything wrong, not making any mistakes, not particularly quick. But I mean, there's nothing the guys behind can do unless something strange happens. And we see that Philip Kershaw's nose cone is already showing signs of a little bit of earlier contact. Certainly frenetic stuff in Irish Formula Ford racing.
I think Alan Ring, all he's trying to do now is get Philip Kershaw to fall off the circuit, because he had no chance of getting down the inside, but he just locked the wheels, bit of blue smoke, get him to a look in the mirror, maybe dive left diver. Meanwhile, George, up at it, through he goes and out through Dunlop, and look at this. This is what, 25, 30 car lengths waving to the pit line. He's done it. Not only has he won the race, he's won the championship. We're waiting for second place man Dwyer to come in with that nose, but this is the real battle.
Can Moore hang on for this podium finish? He really wants it, and he's been out there so long, he'd hate to give it up at this stage. He certainly has the head for heights. He knows how to defend, as I say, 3 Formula V titles in Britain over the years, and I think there's no chance, unless there's a wild manoeuvre up the outside into the last corner from Philip Kershaw. Don't think it's going to happen. It looks as if Ray Moore is going to be able to wind it home in 3rd place, with Philip Kershaw 4th and Alan Ring in 5th place. George McAlpin is champion, Alan Dwyer is 2nd by 12 points, and Alan Ring is 3rd.
It certainly made it easier whenever there was a bit of a mix-up in the first corner and to give me a break. And when you get a break, it does make it easier. But I stayed cool and just kept consistent and kept putting the laps in.